Jai Sachidanand. This is the second session of the second day of the Parayan, August 2011. This is August 26th, second session, which is just after the break in the morning, involving the question and answer session. So here we begin now. This is the Q&A session with our Gnani Purush Dadashri. So here we go. Bhavesh Gandhi is from Mumbai is asking a question. And then Neeta from Simandar City. Bhavesh is asking a question. Young man. Jai Sachidanand. Yes. I have not sent the question, but then whatever is done for the benefit of the self, it is called Parabhakti. And whatever is done and whatever Anshan, Parabhakti, Anshan, etc., the last part of this last chapter. In other words, when you are awakened as the self, then if you sleep in relative worldly matters, then it is fine. So Lord Krishna has said that wherever the world is awake, I am asleep, and where the world is awake, that is where I am asleep, and where the world is asleep, that is where I am awake. That is what the Lord Krishna has said. You can say where. It is not when, but it is where. It is when, because the world is not aware with reference to the S capital self. So both sentences are correct. So the more important, both are correct. It is the faith that gives you the effect. The more important thing, it is where you are, it is your conviction that gives you the results, not your activity or the action through the mind, speech and action that gives you the results. That is already in effect. The kriya, the activity through the mind, speech and body is a result of is an effect. It is unfolding karma. People do anshan, which is fasting. That is there. Why are they fasting? Because most people, the real goal for kashai, the real goal of fasting should be that I want to become free from kashai. But if there is any other goal, any other aim for fasting, then it may go in the wrong direction. Whereas, and for us, we are just settling the accounts, whether it is fasting or feast. Yes. Durvasa Muni, he says, Durvasa Muni said that I don't eat, the body eats, but I am not the eater. Lord Krishna is eternally the brahmachari, even though he had 1600 queens. So this is it. If whatever you do for the benefit of the S capital self, and for the goal of attaining the self, that is called anshan, that is called the vidhi, that is bhakti, that is called atmahetu, that is the goal, that is the direction in which you are leaning. And so one is really involved in the bhakti of one's own self only. They said that if you make a very beautiful garland for Lord Simandar or for Dadashri, then it is really a pratyaksh bhakti only. But he may not know exactly how to be involved in the devotion to the S capital self, but by making a beautiful garland for my Gnani, you are in fact, all of that goes towards the S capital self, and it also accumulates the credit on the account of the pure soul. Next one is Sirish Patel, and then Neeta from Samandar City. So Sirish has a question now. Neeta is asking a question now. I have a lot of fear of being insulted, and I like to be seen well in the public, and so this is my problem. I like to... Who is this happening to? Who is it happening? Neeta ne. So then what is it to do with you? You need to set it that that Neeta wants to is a lot afraid of insults. That means that she has got the knot of pride in her, and she may be fearful of insults. But you can say that is good. Let Neeta be fearful, and then if she has the pride of wanting to look good in front of other people, then when somebody criticizes you and derides you and disparages you, then at that time you can say this is good. Do you think you can scold Neeta? In what way are you able to scold your own self? No, no. You see, that is also very good. But you can scold Nita from within 2 to 3 minutes. But if you cannot scold very heavily, otherwise she'll go into depression. But therefore you're free to give her a few sentences. Why are you doing this thing? You're so full of mistakes, and how can you say that you want to be respected? And if you cannot do it, then the people will do it. So, but when people do it, then I feel then you should not try to protect it. If people try to take away your junk, then you should not try to hang on to the basket of junk that is yours. You say you want to get rid of your junk within, and yet when somebody is trying to remove it for you and from you, you are hanging on to it, and you are clutching on to it. That is exactly what is happening. You see, when you are protecting your mistakes, that is the wrong thing. That is the filled stock. That is the unfolding thing. That is part of what happened in SCE. But then on top of that, you should have the you should really take her to task initially. And so if somebody compliments you, at the same time you can say, but really I know what Nita is like. You are complimenting me, but I know where her weaknesses are. And openly declare it to the other person who is compliment that you're complimenting me, but I know my own faults, my friend. Therefore you are in opposition of Nita. You have separated her from you. Next one. I have this severe fear of being insulted from people who are even close to me. And Deepak says that is a filled stock within you, and that is a fear that is arising, but you need to keep it separate. I don't have any desire to be respected, but I have severe fear of being insulted. So you should make the prior decision that the day you are insulted, at that time you should be very thankful to the person who did it. And therefore, do you think the Shuddhatma is getting insulted? It is file is getting insulted, file 1 is getting insulted, so you be happy in there. And so otherwise, who will make you separate from this tendency to become absorbed and become tanmayakar, become the body-mind form? So all of these things are there to let you move away from this sense that I am this body. Next is from Sirish, and then Sudhir from Dubai. So Sirish Bhai is now asking a question. Jai Sachidanand. I just wanted to understand the meaning of this thing. I wanted to say Sabdan Ashray, he's trying to get the meaning of the one word called Ashray. Ashray. So Ashray means somebody who is dependent upon you, and when within that word you can get the understanding of what the protection. When you become ashrit, when you become dependent on the Dadashri, the Gnani, that means you become dependent on the Gnani. Whereas the worldly people, they have got nobody. The worldly people, when they don't have the Gnani, they don't know what is going to happen. But Mahatmas of Dada have become dependent on Dada. They'll say, my Dada is there. And that is the bhakti of the Dada, the devotion. Therefore, if you are devoted to Dada, then you are the ashrit of Dada. And then Gnani Purush is without Shalya. There was a question of Shalya. We have already covered that. And that means a kind of a thorn. The Gnani does not have any thorns within him. They don't have the thorns of Maya Shalya, Mithyatva Shalya. But we don't know. We don't know. You know that there is an error, there is a mistake, but you don't know which mistake it is, and therefore you don't know whether it is deceit, whether it is delusion, whether it is pride, etc. And so these are mithya means that is related to the issues of this illusion of the illusory attachment to to the worldly self. But the Gnani Purush and Dadashri is such that the moment you see him, you can become free from any shalya, any inner poking, any inner spheres. And then you said, yes, and we're coming back to the conversation things. Whenever there is commentary versus conversation, the Sirish okays it through the commentary. Whatever Prajna Shakti tells Sirish is willing to listen. So what do I need to do in order to converse? But if somebody comes and tells you on a rare date saying that your method is wrong, Sirish, you are wrong, at that time then you need to know, then you need to, at that time you need to be grateful to the person who is showing you the errors, and then slowly move into the higher directions. Now, supposing you're eating, but it's like that at that time you can talk to Sirish and say, oh, you are so interested in all the kinds of different kinds of food. Why should you? You can talk to him. Why don't you talk? Don't you? You should talk to him and say, don't you think it's a good idea to do unodari? So when are you going to start unodari? Unodari means to eat little less than the total satisfaction. In other words, leave about 10 to 20%, about 20 to 25% vacant in the stomach, space in the stomach. Don't fill up the stomach completely every meal. But Sirish says yes, but he continues to say yes. Then you should say, you are deceiving me, because then you can say that you are agreeing with me, but at the same time you are stuffing yourself with full to the brim. So therefore you are deceiving me, are you not? So you can talk to Sirish like that. But I'm just giving you an example, says Deepak Bhai, and everybody is laughing. Next one is from Sudhir, from Dubai. Yesterday you talked about the nature of God through the nature of the Gnani, of God through the Gnani. It said that the self is without any circumstance, therefore it cannot be divided, and it is and it at every level, in every space, it is avibhajya. It cannot be divided. I had an old doubt which got cleared yesterday. I had heard from the very big. I had heard the Om Purna Madaha Purnashya Purnmadai Purna Evai Masishtate, that everything is full. This is full and this is full, and that from the full arises the full, etc. That Vedant famous mantra. And then when I studied the Ashtavakra Gita, then I could understand that then if you can cut pieces of the self, that every piece of the self is absolutely and totally self-contained and full. So the 1,000,000 slices of the S capital self is as glorious and as pure as everything else is. So everything is pure, everything is Purna, means total, as pure. Yes, but why did they make so many slices of the S capital self? Because the self is indivisible. So what is the problem with it? Is the Vedant incomplete? Deepak Bhai says, they are saying, they are referring it to the veiled SELF. But if there is a 1000 watt bulb and you cover it with a very heavy dark clay pot, nothing will come out. But if you make one hole, one ray of light will come. When you make another ray of holes on both sides, so then both of them will work independently. So Eko Ham Bahushyam. I am only one, but there are so many manifestations of me. And so so one is an expert engineer, another one is an expert physician, and the third one is an expert artist, etc. So the problem is with the interpretation. The mantra is not deficient. Om Purnamidam Purnasvacha. That is the word. But the original self is indivisible and only one only. But those who try to interpret this mantra, they try to divide it according to their relative viewpoint. Yes, when all the rays come out totally, then it is from the original one self only. Yes, that is. But so when all the veils get lifted up, then the total thing exposes. But what I am trying to understand, when we are talking about divisions of the self, and that is, do you think that the self is such that you can keep on dividing it? No, absolutely not. Then why are you trying to bring it here in terms of Om Purnamidam, this is full and that is full? Do you think it is all junk? No. Do you think it's all confused? No, it is not confusing. It is confusing from the point of view of interpretation. It is not, it is an absolutely true original mantra, because yes, and they believe the self as capital as eternal, and also the world is also eternal. But you see, the original person who said it is totally correct, but the bhaktas, the devotion, people who are devoted through their interpretations, they are the ones who make the divisions. They all talk about everything is full, and everything is complete, but whatever it is, everything is totally complete. Everything is Purna, but you see, but you can keep on making so many pieces, but then it does not match with the divisions and the pieces of the self. And is the Vedanta. When it doesn't match in the Vedanta, leave it on one side, accept that which is correct, and then move forward. Because if you try to decide and decipher it through your intellect, you will not get it. Now, if there is a very magnificent palace, but if there are a million pieces of it, then are you going to stay in that palace? Now it has a million pieces. So then, do you really pick up the pieces and try to why are you trying to go into the history of it? Why are you trying to decipher into the history of the Vedantic, the mantras? Yesterday I was, the whole day I was kind of ruminating on this particular mantra, Om Purnamidam, everything. But he says, the whole problem is that they had established God above, somewhere in the heavens. But if they had established the God within, then there would be no problem. Then they can say, I am the complete one, everything else is temporary. I am the complete and the absolute and the full one. And I never die, only the relative pieces die, and then they get form again, and they die again, and they form again. So, but we say the problem is trying to kind of unite to an external God who is the supreme entity somewhere high up in the heavens above, whom no one has ever seen. And God is not above you, God is within you. In the development of the S capital self, there are different souls that have different levels of development, and they are all individual, and every individual soul is absolutely Purna. But you see, nobody can really find, they all say in Vedanta that they are all part of the original God, and we are all fractions of the original entity, and that is totally wrong. You yourself within are the absolute God and the total complete God. Next one, Vandana is the next question. Questioner, and then Mahesh Kamdar. So Deepak is looking at Vandana, and then now switching. Which question are you asking? Well, I want to live in love, and I want everybody to live in love with me, but I want respect. That's the question. What is it? What is it that you want to understand? Deal with me with love. Don't deal with me with. Do you have to be the loving person, or does the other person? Do you demand love from the other person, or do you become the loving one? You see, when you put conditions on the other human being, that is a demand, and every demand is a non-entity, is of the non-self, and that is the wrong thing altogether. Whenever there are such expectations arise within you, then you know that it is your hunger for respect, for validation. He doesn't treat me nicely, in front of others he is nice to me, but when he is alone with me, he gets upset with me, and he is non-communicative with me. He uses the wrong tone with me, and so therefore you end up blaming the other person. And then I kind of slip into that I am very good, that I am good, I am superior, I am better, I am something, etc. But you see, so I am in Gnan, but she picks up that I am good. Are you not living? Are you not living? Don't you think if you are living as the S capital self, then can you not show her and take her to task? Can you not take her to task like you would somebody who is misbehaving? You see, are you going to take her to task when everybody else derides you and gets you down? Why can you not take the independent? When your husband is, when you control your husband so much, then do you not get on the case of your husband? Why don't you get on the case of Nita herself? You have the remote control and the heavy duty willful behavior with your husband, but you don't want to touch Nita at all, do you? Slowly get into this practice, and you will learn a lot. Next one. Deepak bhai, I like pride, it is sweet to me. Then you should know that is true, because somebody who respects you, then you have rag towards that person, you like that person, and the one who insults you, you scorn him and you run away from him. But right now, go ahead and enjoy the man, but don't insult anybody. If somebody is respecting you, enjoy it, but make sure that you do not hurt anyone. Next one. After taking the Gnana of Dadashri, we have. Sorry, Deepak bhai is now wanting a woman to talk. Okay. Next is Yogita. Having taken the Gnana of Dadashri, we have attained the S capital Self. We are the non-doers. We do not have any expectations from anyone, whether good or bad expectations. When if somebody, I don't have any expectations or respect, but without, if Mahesh does something wrong, then is there an error? No. But if you have the awareness that Mahesh did something wrong, then you should make him do pratikraman. That's all. But I do not have any such expectations that I want to hurt anyone or to do some wrong work, etc. Do you want to proceed with intellect, or do you want to proceed with Gnan? Gnan says, who did the good work, you or did? Do you think Shuddhatma did the good work? His answer was Shuddhatma. Mahesh is doing. Is whatever happens on the basis of circumstances, it is the work of Mahesh. And Gnata Drashta, the knower seer, is the role of Mahesh. So whatever work Mahesh did, it is under the evidences of SCE or Dravya Kshetra Card and Bhav, in other words, matter, location, intent, as well as time. You need to know whether is it Mahesh doing it. You need to know that Mahesh is doing it, and he is the pure, that I am pure soul, and this is all happening under influences of some other external forces. But if the intellect and the ego lens to take over, that I want you, this is my mind, I know, because I have not. You see, so the ego, but the ego and this intellect. If you just now said that you do not have any expectations of any compliments, but why is it that you are complaining about something wrong happening? Now, when your very complaint that something wrong happened is also the opposite of the expectation that and the belief that I am doing something good. You see, who is doing? Is there anything good and bad when in the doer? The doer is simply doing it. It is a viewpoint, but you catch on to the viewpoint that this is good and this is bad, this is good and this is bad. This is the nature of the world. That the nature of the world is that, and what you consider nice, there will be about 2 or 3 people who will say this is bad. So this is the nature of the relative dual world of duality. But if you kind of swim in the ocean of duality, then you should be ready to face the big heavy waves or sink. And this is the nature of the duality. The most important thing is the world interaction. Vyavahar is that you do not want to hurt anyone. Whether good or bad happens is not the issue. Does anyone get hurt through my nimit, my role in this? I want to ask something else. Many times, sometimes I have to tell a lie, and I do not have any real desire to selfish desire behind it, but I want to help somebody else. And so then, is there a fault in it? So then there is, because your intention was good, then it is okay. But sooner or later, the man will come to know that you had told a lie, and then at that time the hurt will happen. So why don't you just change your intention, that let me understand, make him understand it with it in exactness through the words that are pure and spoken for the purity of as it is, rather than trying to help or hurt. But I want to get 2 people. I want to help 2 people. The Deepak Bhai says karma will be bound if you become the doer in this karma. Are you really? Mahesh is doing it, and I am the pure soul. Then there is a guarantee that you will not bind any karma, and so therefore settle all files with equanimity by remaining in the realm of the 5 agnas and proceed. And then if something happens, if Mahesh tells a lie, then make Mahesh do the pratikraman. Keep the separation and then make him do the pratikraman. And then you are fine. Do you understand? Okay. Because the world is like that only. It's a worldly interaction only. It is, if you touch dirty mud, dirty mud, will it not stain you, even though if you touch it very lightly with a white shirt? So whenever you are interacting with the worldly people, you will be forced into partiality. Trying to do something for one person will be trying to do something wrong with the other person. You will hurt one or the other person, and therefore, before taking Dada's Gnan, I had a very bad experience. I was just standing, and there was a cat was trying to kill a rat, and I threw a stone. And I killed, instead of killing the cat, I killed the rat, and so I have a lot of pain because of that, and therefore at that time I did not have Gnana. At that time I was feeling very bad. Am I at fault? I was trying to save the rat. Am I? Just tell Mahesh to do Pratikraman. This is the nature of this world. There are all kinds of life. Even, you wanted to save the rat, but you killed the rat by throwing the stone. You wanted to kill the cat. You wanted to move the cat away from catching the rat, but you ended up killing the rat. So now tell Mahesh, stop doing this kind of dakhal, this kind of interferences from here on after Gnan. And then just have the deepest inner intentions that through my nimit, I do not want to hurt any living being in this world. Next question, Yogita. Pradyumna is the next one. This is Yogita. If in any event we are supposed to kind of deal with any situation and circumstance through Gnan, does anything remain pending through Gnan? No, nothing remains pending. When your opinion changes, therefore originally you are separate, but sometimes again it will happen, and if you do not have Ragdvesh when it happens again, then if you do not have Ragdvesh towards it, then you are free from it, then it will fall away from you. So does it come into practical? Well, it may or may not come into practical, but you believe that it may have happened 100%, but only 10% of the layers have been removed. 90% of the layers of the old wrong approach is still there, and therefore it will keep on happening. And as the layers get washed off, then there will be, the circumstances will not arise at all where you hurt anyone. Do you understand? Yes. Next one, Pradyumna by Ravard. And then Poonam, so a man and a woman, then man, Pradyumna. Which question? VISHUDDHATMA. I am Chandubai is ignorance. I am pure soul is file number 1. No. This gentleman is all. Yes, I am pure soul, and file number 1 is separate. After Gnan, I can remain in the pure soul. I can see others as the pure soul. I can see them flawless, and good and bad happens upon to me in the relative because of my own faults. I try to see the pure soul in other beings, but many times I miss seeing the pure souls in other human beings. Why does it happen? I can see pure souls in animals, but it is very difficult for me to see pure souls in human beings. Why? The Deepak says this is because you have wound opinions about human beings. This man is good, this man is bad, this man is good looking, this man is bad looking, this etc. So this is your intellect which gives opinions is still interfering, and therefore you have to keep it separate and see the pure soul, and then see the rest as filled stock, and do not give any opinions. You do not have any opinions about animals, and therefore you can see their pure souls. But this man was trying to just now save the rat, and therefore he had an opinion that rat is good and the cat should be driven away. Many times I have the wrong intentions, and then out of suddenly then I end up saying things that are hurtful, because because are you why should you try to correct somebody else? No, you should not try. You are not the absolute Keval Gnani that you in order of, so you should not try to correct anyone else. Should I correct somebody else? No, you should not correct anyone else. Just focus instead. Just you can just say that if you do good things, you will rise higher. If you do bad things, you will go lower in life cycles. So now next one is from Poonam, and Deepak Bhai picking, and then Pradyumna has got some more questions. Do you want to ask? You got them? Yeah, there's some more questions. What is Dharmasar? Dharmasar, the essence of religion. What is it? This is your question. So, what is when Artha Dhyan and Ravda Dhyan, adverse internal meditation does not happen within, then what is Dharma? The one who has attained the Dharmasar. What is Dharmasar? The one who is free from adverse meditation. He can hear it. He is just reading from what we have already read yesterday. He can do everything, but as long as Marmasar means the essence of the S. And so, right, when you get the essence of the S capital self, then you get liberation. And he is just reading the whole paragraph all over again. What is Marmasar? Dharma. We talked about it yesterday, says Deepak Bhai. Dharmasar is one. Then there is the essence of the religion, and then the essence of the self, as capital self. When you read a whole bunch of scriptures, that is the essence of religion. Then, but nothing happens there. But the ignorance continues. He will say, that is, Akha said that, if you are the living being, then the doer is God, and if you are Shiva, then God is then the doer is another entity altogether. That is Akha Bhakta. And so you should get to it. And then Marmanosar, the essence of the self is essence of the Marmanosar means the essence of the self. That is what you attain in the Gnanvidya. Ich bin reine Seele, I am pure soul, VISHUDDHATMA chu. And even Narsi Mehta, such a great devotee, said that until one attains the S capital self, all endeavors of human beings goes to zero, it's worthless. What he says, but he got the essence of it. He had not attained the self yet. And then Artha means when you suffer yourself. And when you hurt others, that is called Raudha Dhyan. When you hurt yourself only, that is called Artha Dhyan. And so self is the only thing that is worth knowing, and that is called Marma. And then Marmanosar means you have attained the S capital self. I have one question. Then many devotees, they really are into the rhythm of the tablas, in the tablas and the rhythms, and they are also in the sangeet and the musical part. You see, they love the music. There are some Gnan Bhaktas, but okay, tonight I am going to bhajan. But you see, there he is, he says as soon as, and then all night long he is singing with all kinds of notes. But if somebody else is given the microphone, he gets upset. So then he is involved in the singing only. He just wants to show off his his pride, that he wants to show his good singing abilities and people to notice him. You do not want to do the devotion of your own kashais. You do not want to appear good in front of the others. You want to do the devotion of the Lord who is beyond mind, speech and body in bhakti. Next one, Nitta. And he says what is the difference between to know and to believe? To know through Gnani, he doesn't know at all. We know now. You see, now it is on the basis of the light that we see that there is junk within ourselves. The light of the self let us know the junk of jealousy, the junk of anger, greed, deceit and pride, and all the hurt reactions that are caused to others. You see, whereas those who are not enlightened, those who do not have the light, they do not have the lights. How can they see what is within them? It is through the knowingness, through the light of the self within, that is the knowing nature, that is the awakened awareness. On that basis we are able to see what is inside us. The world is covered with the illusion. The world, and this is, oh, my knee is hurting, and that person kicked me here, that person did it, I got a bad doctor, he's not giving me the right medicines, etc. You see, it is happening to me. After Gnani, if this happens to me, like this to me, if it happens, then you can separate it. Nita, this is happening to you, it is not happening to me, it is happening to you. It is your result from past life, not mine. I am beyond all karma, and so settle with equanimity. So do we need, so he knows the effect, such a one knows the effect of all the subatomic particles, and also the effects of that tend to kind of anoint the non-self complex. No, it's not the same thing. The anointing is different and the subatomic effects are different. And as the misunderstanding and as the discharge ego goes away, then when the discharge ego goes away, then the subatomic particle effects will be left, but there will be only the knower, there will be no sufferer left at all. Yes, so the self knows the subatomic particles as well as the sufferer too, does he not? Yes, true. But right now, we need to understand the science that this is the effect of the subatomic particles, and the ego believes that I am suffering or I am enjoying the suffering of pleasure or pain. And is this all happening in one location? No, this is not the location. It is the illusion that has arisen because of the proximity of the S capital self to the non-self complex of the 5 elements, the 5 other elements. You know, people here you bicker about the wrong somebody who has occupied your parking space or has parked in the wrong place in front of your door. This man, how dare he park his car in front of my home? You know, why can't he park in a regular park? Because the one who knows the gneo, that to be known, would you please explain the one who is the knower? Let the says, leave it alone right now. Like it's whatever is being seen in the mirror of the self, the mirror is totally unaffected. The mirror is the absolute. The self is like the mirror, but in the middle, it's the ego who believes that it is my. I am seeing. I am knowing. I am the one. I am. But he does not recognize that he himself is being eliminated by the energy of the S capital self. When the self moves away, the people will either bury or burn him. So what is happening is outside me. This is not happening to me. I am the Gnata, the knower, and this is the Gne. Which the entire it is only the specific portion of the self in the specific location that is knowing this, or is it the entire self that is knowing it within the entire body? The Deepak Bhai says the self is the knower, and it depends on where the upyog is. So the locations of the upyog is in different level. It is happening at different locations. It may be happening in the knee, it may be happening in the kidney, it may be happening in the mind, it may be happening in the ego, it may be happening in the toe, it may be happening in the little toenail, it may be happening in the hair. But then self is the knower of it all. Next one, and there's Shranka, and then there is Mukesh Patel. So let's the lady and then a gentleman coming up. What would you like to ask? I am Vignan Swarup. What is meant by whom Vignan Swarup? So I am the light of the absolute self. Vignan means science means, and then do not people say that this is the second phase of the moon, and then there is the full moon, and then there is the dark moonless night, and therefore usually ignorance means there is no moon at all. The moon hasn't arisen at all. That is called the Mudhatma. And then when the veil is lifted in the Gnanvidhi, it becomes the Antaratma. I am pure soul, Antaratma, interim government. And then it will increase to the full moon, that is absolute enlightenment, and that is called Kirgna. This is called Gnan Dasha, Gnan state, and that one is called. And so he said, that is why we say I am Vignan Swarup, because we say it only 5 times, because we want to become the full moon. But right now I am at the level of the second phase of the moon, but I want to become the full moon. That is why we say it 5 times, Hu Vignan Swarup, I am the absolute self in the Charan Vidhi, at the end of the Charan Vidhi. But does it mean that I have to reach there? Yes, this is in our goal. So that is your goal. When you have passed first year engineering, does it mean you have finished engineering? No, you still have 4 more years to go before you get the engineering degree, right? In the same way, you have just entered into, but here there is a 4-year course. Now Dada makes us aware that there is the course, he makes you the pure soul in the Gnan Vidhi. And so on, he said, then Dada used to say, our Mahatma is all day in Shuddhatma, pure soul, pure soul. Then Dada said, Shuddhatma is the interim government, it is the interim. You need to move towards the Paramatma Dasha, the absolute self. And that will happen as you be and remain in the 5 Agnas. Do you understand? Next one, Shantaben. And then Kokila Patel. 2 ladies coming up. Shantaben, Jai Sachidanand. My million namaskars to you. Shall I speak? What would I like to ask? I want to ask that when I am in Gnan and knowledge, but when I slip out of Gnan, when something happens, when the stock is emptying, at that time, when I am in Gnan, the filled stock empties very easily without kashais, and everything happens very smoothly. But when I am slipping out of Gnan, well, it feels as if the Gnan is, many times the Gnan is slipping, and at that time when circumstances happen, at that time there is the merit and demerit karma, punya and pap karma effects are there, And so if something good is going to happen, that is merit karma is happening, and if something bad is going to happen, that means it is the unfolding of sinful karmas of past life. And so, but the file, I am aware of that this is happening to file number 1. This is all belonging to file number 1. This is the sinful karmas of last life are happening right now. But then it happens, and then I could say that whatever has happened is justice. But the intellect has got a lot of difficulty accepting it, and then I try to kind of split it in different things of why, or in what evidences I did not remain in Gnan. And when I analyze it completely, I do get the answers, but my question is that, but I want to know the effects of the sin or the merit karmas, whatever they may be. But sometimes there is a confusion. Is it true? Is that what you're saying, that you are in Gnan? That means that is merit karma in operation? My question is, I say, does sinful karma express when I am out of karma? No. Out of Gnan, no. Gnan has got nothing to do with merit karma or demerit karma, sinful karma or helpful karma expressing in this life. Yes, merit karma will give you, they will both give good fruits, good, that is the law of nature. But by remaining in Gnan, you will remain in equanimity. But if you slip from equanimity, then there will be suffering, and your suffering will be, and the suffering is due to ignorance only, because even people in merit karma expressing will be suffering. When everything is good, they are in suffering mode only because of their lack of understanding of simple things in life, you see. And so suffering is based on ignorance and lack of precise understanding and lack of precise application of the Purusharth of the S capital self. I understand that, but when I analyze it through the intellect of why this is happening, what I did why did I slip, when I analyze the whole thing, I do get 80% of the answers. But your question, what you have written is different. You seem to imply in your question that when sinful karma express, that is because you slipped out of your Gnan state. But he says that even, so you, in fact, some people, he says, many people, no matter, when they, externally there is when they are very sick, that is the result of demerit karma or sinful karma expressing from past life, but they are in the bliss of the self no matter what happens to the body. And but what you have written is wrong. But you should not believe that it is because you slipped out of Gnan that there was the expression of the demerit karma effects. You see, but it is not like that. It may happen that way. Sometimes, even when you are out of Gnan, there is excellent merit karma unfolding, and everything in the relative life is very, very going on very smoothly and beautifully. And so it both can happen. And the most important thing is this. The Gnan Jagruti, the awakened awareness, is the Purusharth, and suffering of pleasure or pain is due to demerit or demerit karma unfolding from past life. And that has got nothing to do with Purusharth. She says that I have some suffering because of the merit expression of sinful karma. He says that is not because of your sinful karma. It is because of the interfering intellect. That is because everything seems to be fine, you are healthy, everything is. Are you saying? And there is nothing negative. It is your intellect that shows you the negative. Your intellect paints and makes a picture of a mountain of negativity. That is the faulty vision. And that has got nothing to do with your sinful karmas expressing. It is your lack of awareness. It is the interference of your intellect. And so, sometimes the files have negative subatomic particles in files. But if you are, the negative subatomic particles of files affect me. No. Then you can say that, you do not want to put your signature then, but it is your intellect that is picking up the signals of the other person. He's a bad man, he's this way, you should never say that the other person is negative. You are seeing him as the doer. Why use the word Parmanus and subatomic particles? When you are in Gnan, you can say Parmanu. Right now, you are already openly branding him as the bad person. No, no, no. But but if you do not, if you do not put your signature, nothing, he cannot touch you. You see, but because you are Tanmayakar, because you have become Nita or whatever your name is, you become the sufferer. But if you remain in the Gnan, nothing will touch you. Next one. So the next gentleman is, I missed the name. Please speak. Having taken Gnan, there is, by relative viewpoint, I am Mukesh and I am pure soul. And after I become fully enlightened, what will I be? You will remain as you are. But you used to walk in the wrong direction. Now you have come, and so your existence will remain forever. But the Vastutva, your belief will have totally changed. And then now now you're the pure soul, and then Purnatva means you will become the absolute self, and and then in having attained moksha, you will remain in the real state of the self without a body. That's all. What would you like? I just want to ask you. You become the pure soul, and now because now you become the Purush, and then you'll become the Purushottam, the supreme among men, which is the absolute self. I do Samayiks. The Samayiks are for, why am I doing Samayiks? Samayik means to become free, to become. Samayik is not to go into absolute life. Keval Gnan will happen with the darshan of Lord Simandar. In this life, your role is to move in the direction of absolute and clear experience of the self, the direct and the distinct clear experience of the self, Spasht Vedan, from the indistinct and the hazy experience of the awakened self that you have right now. And you want to remain in the Purusharth to become free from Kashais that tends to hurt others and also you in the relative level. So now next one, Jai Sachidanand. Next question. Again a whole stack of questions in front of Deepak Bhai. Now let us take the Samayik now, said Deepak Bhai. Let us understand Samayik. He has almost got 15 questions in a sense. Since there was a talk of Granthi this morning on the knots, and let us take at the knot, the inner tuber that exists within everyone in discharge, and we need to melt it away so that we can become Nirgranth without an inner knot of Kashais. Let us look at which is the biggest knot, then which is the next biggest knot, next is the third largest knot. Let us find out. And all of those Granthis, all those knots really create very huge veils over you, and therefore you cannot see your own faults and you tend to blame others. The knot is within you, and you see it is the knot which is within you, but then the branches come out, and therefore just because you pick off one leaf from the tree doesn't mean, but you have the knot of deceit, you have the knot of illusion, the knot of sexuality, the knot of greed, the knot of pride. So you see, so when this atmosphere is right, then it will sprout, and then all kinds of storms will start brewing within, and then it will totally demolish you and then leave you alone. So and you will lose your awareness of who you are. It is just, if you have the knot of alcoholism, then so the moment you see wine and alcohol shops, immediately you're tempted. When as you come across a wine shop and you see the beautiful wines or the beautiful liquors or whatever you are used to drinking, and then you see the whole body will be automatically pulled there, and you see it will have its evening and whole night of debauchery and of indulging in it, and then it will demolish you, and next day you will feel terrible about it, and then it will leave you totally drained. You may have done 1,000 times decisions, I want to get out of it, and he also tells, please keep me away from this thing. I have made the strong decision of not to take alcohol. But the moment you come into a circle or friend who tends to drink, you see, you enter into a bar or a pub, or that this knot is so heavy within that it will start swelling, that it will make you. There is the Bhakti Ganthir is that you want to go to some other city, so or where you want to go to Dakor, so but regardless, it's Poonam, this full moon, I want to go to Dakor, Lord Krishna's place on Poonam day. No matter what happens, there is a very strong thing, all the preparations happens, and so slowly, and as the days come, then next thing you know, I'm going to go, this is my day, I'm going to go. Don't mess with me. He's already gone. And there, Then he tells his friends to meet him there, and all of them meet there, and then there they walk barefoot up to the temple. So this is the granthi of bhakti. This is the granthi of running around bhakti also. And so you let us understand how these ghats, how these granthis, how these inner knots, if they are very huge, they are called the spiritual blockades, atkans. But you see, the minor knots come into thoughts and speech only, but the major spiritual blockades, they come into all three, come into conduct. He loses all his everything. He enters into profound and florid sexuality or florid drunkenness, etc. You see, and he says, so when the rain comes, when the circumstances arise, then this is ready to sprout. So this is a very major deep knot inside. It's a tuber, and that the illusion has become so dense in this respect that he loses his awareness, and it is always like the sunrise and sunset. And so when the sun is rising, what you say, oh, this is happening. No, we do pratikraman. But we need to go beyond pratikraman after it has happened. We need to find out, why is it happening to me? Why do I have this temptation within me? Why do I give in to this pleasure-seeking maneuvers? Why is it? What is going to happen? There is the atkan of sexuality. There is an atkan of greed. Even if he has suffered a lot of losses in business, after a year or two, with a little bit of thing, he will borrow money and he'll again jump into the business, and again he will sustain losses. Again he will try to go into more. That is his greed and knot of greed within. We need to understand this very critically. Why is this repeating over and over again? Why is it that human beings continue to go into recurrent self-destructive behavior? Or why is it that when you meet somebody, you get the same kind of inner reactions? These are all subatomic particles reacting, and this is all, so Dada has opened up this entire science very beautifully. And it is on the basis of the ghat, the knot within, the tuber within, we have the 4 steps. We have to do the exact upyog purvak samayik, the samayik with the exact. Step 1 says smoking is bad. Number 2, show him or her in what way it is bad. Number 3, every time he smokes, then he should do pratikraman. And number 4, when somebody says, hey Susanna, this is wrong, hey Nada, this is wrong, hey Mikhail, this is wrong, you should not try to protect him. You should not tell him, mind your own business, this is not your own business. You should not try to protect it. No. Maybe this is all vyavasthit. Maybe it is, I miss out, I am the pure soul. No. When you really, are you trying to protect your mistakes? Are you trying to cover up the mistakes? Are you trying to deceive your own self? And so at that time, the ego and the intellect are the major soldiers that try to protect your own mistakes. And at that time, you really need, with the prajna shakti and the awakened awareness of the S capital self, attack the ego and the intellect that is trying to protect the mistakes of the non-self that are happening in discharge. And we understand that many of this self-destructive behavior is very dangerous, and it has the potential to hurt a lot of people. And yet it happens in deception, it happens in darkness, it happens without the knowledge of the society at large, and without the knowledge of the public at large. And it happens in hiding, and all of these are all mistakes in deceit and darkness. And as you try to protect it, this problem is nurtured. This knot is literally growing larger and larger, like cancer within. And so, even if you're trying, because you see, out of 12 out of 15 times you may not be protecting, but if 3 out of the 15 times you try to protect or cover up this mistake, then again you will lose a lot of ground. And so you can see the overt mistakes very easily, but these subtle mistakes are very difficult to see, and therefore we need to see these things. But you see, because you're seeing it through the yellow lenses only. So the yellow glasses of Wu are the ones that are let you see it only through the vision of Wu. You cannot see the vision without any colors of of the non-self complex, and then when you can see it with the non-veiled vision of the S capital self, then you can really move the Prakriti, and you can change the non-self complex, the Prakriti, the way you want it to be, and therefore you can slowly move it away from this very dense tubers and faults that arise secondary to it. Let us look into these things. Let us find out in worldly interactions which tubers are active. First of all, there is the tuber. This is my disease. This is my tuber of willfulness. I want to have it my way only. I have the remote control. It has to happen my way only or no way. And then behind that there is the ego of Visheshta, which is I am superior, I am better, I can do it better than that other woman or other man, etc. And then find out where it is arising. And so then there are 5 levels and 4 steps. Right now we are going into the first 2 levels of hurting others and being hurt by others. And then am I protecting anyone? And this protection is happening continuously. And the intellect will use such words and will cover it up with such beautiful words that subtly one is covering up and protecting one's own relative self only. And one is not at all aware of this inner protection that one is making. And then one is worried about, what if I get caught? And so he says, what if I, I'm making adjustment, what is this? Then you're in trying to protect your sense of self-worth and protect your pride, you try to cover up these negative faults within you. But you see, now, when he says I'm making adjustment, but in fact at a very subtle level you were trying to protect your own pride. You did not want your sense of your small self to be disturbed, and that is the biggest deceit, is it not? So the slightest suffering is your cue to know that there is something wrong in the neighbor, in the non-self complex that is in this neighbor. And so sometimes it may die down, the fire may have died down, but if there is suffering, then you know that this is causing the problem. Let us increase our awareness against this is the tuber of pride, and the tuber of greed is number 1. Number 3, in that the anger and deceit is doing. Then there is the illusion towards other human beings, and then there is the tuber of sexuality, and then there is wanting to have it your way, and there anger is working. And when anger doesn't work, then you employ deceit and remote control approaches. And so and then you're using, there are all kinds of arguments, and you're always trying to kind of use your intellect to kind of have it your way. So all of these are wrong approaches. Observe file number 1, study the wrong ways of the file number 1, and then make a very strong determination to really ride on top of all of this, and with the awakened awareness of the self, and then move in the direction of vitaragta. And if you can break this knot at the very core level, if you can slash it, then you won't have to really worry about the sprouts coming out above ground, and the branches and the leaves and the small branches. And so the Atkan Tutta Anand Samadhi, when the major spiritual blockade breaks, then there is infinite Samadhi, there is infinite bliss of the self that expresses. So you can remain in the nature of the S capital self in the sub. Otherwise, these other things make you run into the wrong directions. You see, because the wrong vision that is of these knots, then you go into the yellow vision of the world, and therefore you also go deal with the world with the yellow vision and only complicate the situation rather than becoming free from it. So let us do a very nice vidhi and samayik for this, about resolving the tuber. Behind every worldly interaction there is a tuber within that is working. And then you should find out the 4 steps and the 5 levels. We do not want to hurt anyone, and I do not want to get affected. In what way it is wrong, why it is wrong. Every time it arises, then do pratikraman. Every time you can say it, have a very strong nishchaya that it is totally wrong and that wrong, and do not try to protect it. Try to analyze it and move forward in this direction. Let us do the vidhi. Say, oh Dada Bhagwan, the Supreme Self within me, oh Lord Simandar Swami Prabhu, dear Lord Simandar, with the exact applied awareness of the pure self, Shuddha Upyog, whatever has been ingrained in this Prakriti, the non-self complex, the big knots, Let me understand it and see it. Let me do the Samayik to understand this knot. And on the basis of that knot as a nimit, whatever other nimits have, whatever circumstances have arisen, whatever branches and sprouts have grown up, and others have been hurt because of that, and the self, small self also enters into suffering. And when it happens according to the tuber, there is pleasure, and when there is lack, and when there is slippage from the awakened awareness, let me see all of those errors, and that all these mistakes are happening on the basis of this big tuber within. And to know this in exactness, let me see this in Samayik, my Lord. Grant me the energy, let me remain in the awakened awareness of the separation, and not to protect any mistakes of the non-self complex of the small self, and let me keep such awakened awareness. And if I am hurting, if there is any hurt caused to others, let me make him do the pratikraman, and reset the awakened awareness in such a manner, and let me thus do such a Samayik, my Lord. I surrender the mind, speech and body, all illusions associated with my name, bhav karma, charge karma, dravya karma, subtle discharge karma, no karma, gross discharge karma. O Dada Bhagwan, the Supreme Soul within me, I surrender them all unto thy divine feet, my Lord. I am surrendering them all, my Lord. Shuddh Atma chu, 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 Shuddh Atma chu. Ich bin reine Seele, ich bin reine Seele, ich bin reine Seele, ich bin reine Seele, ich bin reine Seele. मैं शुद्ध आत्मा हूँ, शुद्ध आत्मा हूँ, शुद्ध आत्मा हूँ, शुद्ध आत्मा हूँ, शुद्ध आत्मा हूँ. I'm pure soul, 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 I'm pure. Jai Satchidanand, the awareness of the eternal is bliss. Jai Satchidanand. Go deep in this Samayik. This is just as you are watching the Rai Lile, just do an excellent Samayik. Just see a live relay. Just Satchidanand. Jai Satchidanand. May you all have a great Samayik. Jai Satchidanand, Shuddhatma Bhagwan. Jai Satchidanand. Jai Satchidanand.